So this is more about sacroiliac joint dysfunction, sciatica, piriformis syndrome, that sort of thing. So just lay and just rest your head on your hands. Don't worry about the arms. And have your legs about shoulder width apart. There's nothing particularly challenging in this one. Just lie there like that. Just let tissues settle. Super. Now just push, just the pubic bone, just push the pubic bone down into the ground. And just have a listen, in particular, at the center of your lower back. What does that feel like? It might feel nothing, you might not really be able to feel it, that's fine. Depends on how tight you are, what issues you may have. All I want you to do is now, just bring the legs together. Now anchor the pubic bone down. Does that feel any different in the center of your lower back? It might not, again, that's fine, just hold it there. We'll do this in stages. Put your legs back to shoulder width apart. Now go to a low Sphinx. So the elbows are in front of the shoulders. You're just bringing it up a little bit more into extension. So now we're creating a wedge in the lumbar spine the other way as we put the spine into extension. And again, this is the way, certainly got sciatica, bulging discs. This is great for that. That's passive. It doesn't have to be active. We're going to come into that in a minute. Anchor the pubic bone down with your legs shoulder width apart. Now just slowly, just bring your legs sort of together and you may feel it a bit more intense on the center of the lower back. Anchor the pubic bone down again. Can you feel it a bit more or not? The answer might be no. It depends on if you've got no issues there or if you're not tight. Just hold that. Now can you bend your knees? You're not sure what you can yet. And try and get your feet. So try and get your knees together, your feet together. And try and get your feet as close to your bum as you can, keeping the pubic bone anchored down. What does that feel like in the center of your lower back? Is that intensifying it? Mm-hmm. Just going to hold that position. So this, now can you flex your feet back as well in that position? So again, this is a bit of a neural stretch on the femoral nerve. Stretching off your quads, your thigh muscles. And you're also stretching off the hip flexor muscles. Super. Last one before we go into a child pose. Straighten your legs down, lower down. Have your legs shoulder width apart. Now we're going to go into a high Sphinx. The idea being, so the elbows are more underneath the shoulder, just so you're in more of an extension. We're just taking it a little bit more. Now, if that's not doable for you, then go to one of the other positions we were just in. If this is a bit too intense, because it doesn't want to feel painful, anchor the pubic bone. What does that feel like? And now can you bring your legs together, slowly bring them closer and closer, anchor the pubic bone. What does that feel like? The legs closer together usually intensifies it a bit more. And now slowly, can you bend your knees? Now, if that's too much, then have your knees apart. But can you get your feet together, your knees together, bring your heels up to your bum? And we're just opening up the hip flexors a lot more and putting a bit more of the stress on the lower back, open up the lumbar spine at the front. And now let's lower down out of that. Take yourself into whatever works for you. For most people, a child pose. You've got knee issues or hip issues, you might want to do something else. You can do cat-cow. You might just want to roll over onto your back, if you can demonstrate that, and just hug your knees into your chest, but we are going to be coming into that. Super. Now can you roll over onto your front again into, we're going to do swan preps. Legs wider than the mat, feet in, turn out. Now if you've got a different preference for your legs, for what I'm after, I don't care how far apart the legs are. I'll explain why now. Because all I'm interested in is the spinal movement and the position it goes into. So your legs can sort of be where you want them to be up to a point. Just anchor the pubic bone down. Your arms are in a W position, hands wider than your elbows. So anchor the pubic bone down. Don't use your bum anymore if you can help it. And all I want you to do is breathe in to prepare. And as you breathe out, just use your arms to push your spine up into extension, but keep the pelvis, the pubic bone in contact with the ground. Try not to use your bum any more than just pushing your pubic bone into the ground. And then slowly lower down. So the arms, for what I'm after, I want the arms to do most of the work in lifting your spine up. And away you go. And you're going to use your breath to control how fast and how long we're up there for. So when you're lying down, you'll inhale to prepare, anchor your bum, slowly raise up on a breath out, hold it for the full breath out, lower down on a breath in, and you're ready to go again. So other than anchoring the pubic bone to the ground, don't fire your bum up anymore, just to make the arms, because again, this is a bit of a shoulder routine, shoulder strength in there, as well as sciatic routine. I say sciatic, it's not just sciatic, it's lower back, piriformis, sacroiliac joint dysfunction. It works on a number of levels. In a nutshell, lower back pain. So the arms are doing most of the donkey work. Make the one you're on the last one, and then take yourself into child pose. Now I want to do child pose because we're going to go on to the 3-in-1 movement. So just start off in child pose. So in child pose, feet are, as a basic, the feet are together, the knees are together, your bum onto your heels, and then try and get the crown of your head onto the floor. For this version, have the arms out in front of you. Now we'll go on to the 3-in-1 movement. If you know what you're doing, crack on. This is more because it's being recorded. From the child pose, bring yourself to a tabletop or quadruped position. So the knees have opened up, lower back is flat. That's a transition into extension. So allow the crown of the head to go forward, take the hands forward, squeeze the bum, push the floor away. And then come out of it. And you move between those 3 positions. So this one is a gentle forward flexion. In orthopedics, in their physiotherapy, this is classed as a Williams type movement method. And then this is what's referred to as a Mackenzie one. As you take the spine forward, starts with the crown of the head, squeeze the bum, push the floor away. Just hold it there a minute. So this covers what we're trying to do today, just this move. If you're pushing the floor away, you're working your chest, you're working your shoulders and arm strength. You're putting the spine into extension, what we're after, squeeze the bum, and just, again, mobilize yourself between the 3 positions. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. What they do in the physiotherapy world, what they used to do anyway, and what they do now is just advise you to do Pilates. But they used to do one or the other. They used to have you doing either forward flexion type stuff. If that didn't work, they'd give you extension type moves. Have you ever been to orthopedic chiropractic, physiotherapies? The movements are basically just Pilates. Every single move they will give you, I can almost guarantee, or most of them, they'll basically be Pilates moves or just adaptations of Pilates moves. Super, let's make it a bit tamer now. Just roll over onto your back. Now you want blocks to hand. Now I appreciate you might not have all sorts of different size blocks. I'll just explain first. Tanya's going to demonstrate first with no blocks at all. So for some people, this might be challenging. Or if you're just laying on your back. In a corpse pose, you'd be familiar with the corpse pose. You're just lying on your back, legs slightly apart, arms away from the body. But we'll take the arms over the head and just rest them on the floor if you can. Super. So that's quite tame for most people. What we usually do in Pilates, we put a Pilates block underneath the pelvis. So that's another option for you. I use the expression a bit more bang for your buck. There's a little bit, I wouldn't say extreme, but it's taken it a stage further. What Tanya's going to do, Tanya's going to use the yoga block. The higher up to a point, unless you're up here somewhere, well, it's a yoga move, then the wheel. Then the higher up, I won't say better, it's a bit more intense, you get more bang for your buck. And you can see why in this position with Tanya on the yoga block. It opens up all the pubic area, all the groin areas. You put the spine into extension. The higher up you go, it also acts as a bit of a relaxant in the sense that the heart is higher than the brain. Arms over here. Just going to hold it in that position. So up to a point, the higher up is sort of what you're aiming for, up to a point. Everything's pain-free, but not discomfort-free. Arms up, and just have a bit of a stretch. Don't overthink it. Just have a quick stretch. Reach your fingers away, reach your toes away from each other, and then sort of relax into the position. Your legs are about shoulder width apart. Just now, start to roll your feet in and roll your feet out. Don't overthink it. Your arms are over your head, your legs are straight, you're on a block, perhaps. Roll your feet out, roll your feet in. And we are going to turn this into leg slides now. You have the option of either staying on the bigger block. That might be too intense for some people, in which case, Tanya's going to swap over to a Pilates block. Straighten both legs. And you're going to alternate now. I want you to flex that foot back. And if you can, get into the habit now. Can you put your hand underneath the thigh rather than on the knee or shin? Bring it in tight to your chest, lower down. Flex the foot back as you bring it in, hand underneath, assuming you haven't had hip replacements, elbows nice and wide, and really use your bicep and arm strength to pull that knee into your chest. You're trying to have the straight leg as straight as you can. And again, being on a higher block works better than if you're just on the floor, provided it's pain-free but not discomfort-free. Just start to note, is there a difference? How close to your chest, to your torso can you get your thigh? And now I'd like you to just lower down but glance in. Tanya's just going to do a left leg. Watch this first. So the foot is flexed back. You're going to bring the thigh into the chest. To target what we're trying to target, there's two musts. Flex the foot back, keep the thigh where it is. You're slowly going to straighten the leg, but only as much as you can keep the thigh still. As soon as that thigh wants to do that, you've gone too far. Does that make sense? And then lower down. Slide away. The other way. Foot flex back. Keep the thigh where it is as you straighten the leg. So it's not about straightening. If you actually can get your leg straight, you've lowered the thigh.
Don't let your ego get in the way.
Yeah, don't let the ego get in the way. It's about that the whole purpose of this is the foot stays flexed back, and that thigh, as you straighten the leg, that thigh stays as close to your chest. Don't let it move away. So you only straighten it as much as you can keep the thigh where it is. And you're trying to keep the straight leg as straight as you can. And remember, you are on camera, I can see what you're doing. When you straighten the leg, straighten it slowly. And just make sure that thigh isn't moving away from your chest. And now remove the block. Or bounce yourself off.
Oh, does it make a difference if you point toes?
It takes you away from what you do. It doesn't take you away from your stretch. Keep your head down, just hug, push watch time, just hug both knees into your chest, but hands behind the thigh for what we're going to do. Flex your feet back. Try and lift your bum off the ground. Keep your head down though. Keep still, watch this way. Keep the thigh, I've no idea why people, so watch this way. Feet stay flexed back. Keep the thighs where they are, straighten both, nice and slowly, straighten those legs away. It's always like a happy baby for those that know yoga. And just hold that. We're going to hold it for about 20 seconds in from, in a minute. Here we go. So are your feet flexed back? Can you pull your thighs closer into your chest? Can you straighten your legs a little bit more, but not at the expense of pointing your feet? Keep those feet flexed back. Okay with that? Yeah. And lower down out of that. Okay? And you want your band for the next one. We're going to do a hamstring stretch. I say a band, it can be a strap or a towel. If you haven't got a strap. I like a purple band. Head can be on a block for this one. It's probably better, to be honest with you. Doesn't have to be. So left leg. Right, again, I'm going to stress this. I'm going to nag the living daylights because they just weren't listening. Where they go. The leg, for what I'm after today, you really got, especially got, the leg has got to be straight. No getting it up there at the expense of bending it. Could be for one very good reason. You're taking the tissues out of it completely. Well, I'm not interested in the hamstrings in this one. Flex the foot back as far back as you can. Keep the leg as straight as you can. Only pull it towards you as much as you can. Keep that leg perfectly straight and locked out. And just hold it there. A discomfort score of about 7. If it eases off from a 7 down to a 6, flex your foot back more and insist that that leg stays straight, stays locked out. And as best you can you relax your head, your neck, your jaw? Make sure your teeth aren't touching each other. Well, the front set against the bottom set, they should be touching from side to side. What do you do? Tongue between your toes?
Create space between the back teeth.
Create space between your back teeth. That's a nice way of saying it. So has that eased off at all? Can you flex the foot back towards you more? Pull the toes towards you more? Can you lift the heel up towards the ceiling and reach the heel to the ceiling? Do you squeeze your thigh muscles? And where about in space is that? As you bend the knee and compare sides, swap over to the other side. Same rules again, the same nag. Flex the foot right the way back, keep the leg locked out, and put it in stretch. Just go to a discomfort of 7. But don't bend the knee, don't let the foot point. Relax the arms and shoulders as much as you can. And away you go. So again, if the tissues start to ease off, can you lock that leg out, Mark? Can you lift that heel up to the ceiling? Can you pull your toes towards you? Can you squeeze your thighs? And just note also how straight is the leg that's on the ground. Go on, lift that heel up to the ceiling. And how's that compared to the other side? Bend the knee, come out of that, put it back on the left one now, back on the left foot. And we're going to open it up to the side out to the left now to work the adductors, but put yourself in that hamstring stretch first. And then put the bands in the left hand, put your right arm out to the side, and you're going to take the left leg out to the left. You might want to rest it on a bolster or on a block. But just make sure the right pelvis doesn't hit you up. You're trying to keep that right pelvis down so it's actually stretching rather than just turning the body. You don't want to turn the pelvis. Take it out to the side. So we're working now, you're still working the hamstrings, but you're getting now the adductor group as well. So the hamstrings, the adductors, and the hip flexors are 3 groups of muscles that can adversely affect the hips, the pelvis, certainly hip mobility. And we're after all muscles to be stronger, flexible. Certain muscles tend to be a bit too strong, a bit too short, maybe sometimes, a bit too tight. Flexing that foot back still. And then bring that leg back, swap over, and we're doing the same on the right foot now. So again, do the good hamstring stretch first, what we did before. Leg as straight as you can, foot flex back. But what we're going to do now, the band in the right hand, take the leg out to the right, but keep, oh, you're lifting that pelvis a lot more. If your pelvis is lifted, there's a few things you can do. You can put the arm out to the side, you can turn your head to the opposite side, you can turn your head to the left, you can put the left foot in turn out. You're trying to keep the left bum cheek down, the left pelvis down. And again, as much as you can, try and relax your shoulders and your arms. And then slowly come out of that. We're going to go into hip rolls now, just give you the heads up. So some people prefer to do this with your head on the block. I do a little bit better, me personally. The reason being, it keeps the lower back a bit flat. So your feet are close together and they're really close to your bum. Can you imprint? Have your arms out to the side in the capital T. Super. You okay? Okay. What you're going to do is take your hips and knees and take them over to the left. Super. And then focus on your stomach muscles to hoist your legs back up and take it over to the other side. Now for these, I want to, from a sciatic, from a lower back point of view, want to target the lumbar spine. So as you rotate the pelvis and knees over to one side, can you now try and keep your rib cage down on the mat? So you don't actually want to lift the rib cage up. So we're just trying to target the lumbar spine in particular. In other words, you only want to go about 45 degrees. Your thighs and knees and pelvis just want to rotate about 45 degrees. Just so not what, all that does is we're just focusing on the lumbar spine rather than higher up the spine. There's nothing wrong with exercising higher up the spine. It's just that what we're trying to focus on today, trying to target more of the lumbar spine rather than the entire spine. Now just bring the legs to the start position, to where you started from. Now, imprint, can you make your pelvis heavy, your feet light? In fact, can you lift your feet about 2 inches or so off the ground, lower them back down again, but when you lower them down, keep them light. And now you're going to do the same hip rolls, side rolls, away you go. But keep the pelvis heavy, keep the feet light. You should feel your abdominals kicking, or you may feel your abdominals kicking a bit more. As you alternate sides. All we're trying to do is put the lumbar spine into rotation, as well as working those abs to try and control the pelvis. So the pelvis stays heavy, the feet stay light as you rotate. Let's take this a stage further. Bring yourself to the start position, arms in the capital T. Keep the pelvis heavy, keep the feet light. Now lift the arms off the floor, just about, have them hovering off, but your shoulder blades still want to be in contact with the floor. Now do the rotations. Again, you're only rotating about 45 degrees if that. Try and keep the rib cage down. And you should, again, theoretically, feel your abdominals kicking a little bit more. Is that the case? Yeah. Pelvis heavy, feet light, arms off the floor, your shoulders in. And come out of that, do whatever your body wants you to do just for the next. Pilates single leg circles next. Well, a few people throw.
Everyone's waiting.
Was it going to turn the internet? Okay, so we're having issues there with our internet. So we're doing Joseph Pilates version of single leg circles, which is this, watching first. Keep the leg as straight as you can, just point the foot. You're taking it across, lift the bum, lift the rib cage, as big a circle as you possibly can. 6 one way, 6 the other. And then swap over legs. But keep the head, the neck and the shoulders anchored down. For what I'm after with this one, don't do the modern version that you get where you keep the pelvis down. We're trying to target the lumbar spine. This is why I prefer his version. I think it's far superior. You want to lift the pelvis and bum cheek. So you're getting not massive amounts, but you're getting mobility in that lumbar spine. Providing you keep the head still, try and keep the neck still and the upper back anchored down. Lift the thigh, lift that bum cheek and pelvis off the ground. 6 one way, 6 the other, and then swap over legs and do the same with the other leg. Try and keep the leg as straight as you can. Now, as a basic, it's done with a pointed foot as a basic. So from a sciatic point of view, glute point of view, try a few with the foot flexed back and see how that feels. Try and keep it flexed throughout the whole movement, and if you try and keep the leg as straight as you can, you'll really feel it nice and hollow. Harder with the foot pointed, flex back?
I find it's just getting the hip flexors too much.
Oh, okay. You're tightening your hip flexors, aren't you?
It's just making them work too much.
6 one way, 6 the other, and then swap over legs. People go at different speeds. Tanya's finished already. You carry on doing yours, but if you have finished, just roll yourself over onto your front into a Sphinx position. But don't rush what you're doing. You'll wait for everyone to finish.
You take your time, everyone. Take your time.
Take your time, young man, and mind it ain't. So whatever Sphinx position we were in before, whatever one you want to do, your body, but don't rush it. If you're doing your circles, or get that leg straight. Oh, she's finished. Oh, she finished just as I said that then. So just roll back over onto your front. Whatever feels, it's not a relax.
Oh.
It's meant to be active. In other words, there needs to be a stress, but whatever version you did before stressed you, and which stresses you just enough. Doesn't have to be agony. Doesn't want to be agony. And now, whichever version you're in, I say whichever version you're in, what I would like you to do is, can you bend your knees in? Tanya's just said she really needs a wee, so we got another 15 minutes on your front.
No.
Well, another 10 minutes maybe on your front. Just a passive hold, that's all we're going to do. Now we're going to go back into our swan press. Lower your legs down, put your legs about shoulder width. But again, for what I'm after, I don't care what you do with your legs. You prefer your legs together apart, turn out, turn in, providing you anchor your pubic bone down, and the arms are doing most of the work. Breathe in to prepare. As you breathe out, use your arms to push yourself up. Shoulder blades will relax down the back. Hold yourself there for a full breath out. And then slowly lower down on a breath in. Anchor your pubic bone. Just make sure the pubic bone's anchored. Although I'm not fussed with the leg position, try not, just anchor the pubic bone, then try not to use your bum to bring about the extension. Use the arms. So let the weight, let the arms take most of that weight, most of the strain, and lifting yourself up. Keep your pubic bone on contact with the ground. And then lower down. I'm going to go to child pose in a minute, not just yet. Lower down. Now, I'd suggest having your legs wide for this one. Super. Now bend the knees. Try and get your heels together and your feet towards your bum. Anchor your pubic bone down. Now you're going to do this slowly. Don't start throwing yourself up there. You're slowly going to squeeze up and then lower back down again. And away you go. Just keep on doing that. The wider the legs are apart, the tamer it's going to feel. Well, it's not going to feel tame, but it's going to feel tamer. You want more of a challenge? Get the knees closer together. Discomfort, but not pain. Lower down. Do whatever works for you for stretching off your lower back. We're going to go into a different version of swan prep next. But for now, just stretch off that lower back. Good one. This decompresses your spine.
Both hands on the sacrum then.
A small pit pony, don't you? But watch in for this, because some of you might not have done it. It's called a leg cock one. I'm going to cock the leg. So you lay down. Your feet are probably going to be about wide. Just start off with your feet wider than the mat. You might want to watch in first. Feet wider than the mat, feet in turn out. We'll get Tanya to do a right leg as you can see it on the camera. Arms in a W position, so anchor the pubic bone down. But what we're going to do with the right leg is take it into a cock. It's going to cock it out to the side. So if you're watching me, her leg is sort of like that. Now there's different heights. We're going to go to a low cock, medium cock, and then just going to be full of cock. We're not going to do that one. We're just going to do the half, the low cock. What are you giggling at?
So wrong.
You give me another name for that. Anyway, so you get the idea. And what you're going to do is breathe in, anchor the pubic bone down. As you breathe out, lift your spine up. Take it nice and slow, don't suddenly force yourself up there. Do 5 like that, use breath. So breathe in to prepare. You're keeping your pelvis square on. As you breathe out, just lift up, nice and slowly, hold it for the breath out, and then lower back down. Do 5. 5 with the right leg cocked and a low cock, 5 with the left. Take it slowly, you can squeeze your bum as much as you want. You can use your arms as much as you want, providing you're getting your spine up into extension and you're challenging your body. Try and keep the pelvis square onto the floor, so try not to actually...
5 on each side.
5 on each side. See if there's a difference, see if there's a noticeable difference.
Already on, if you're a little more left.
Oh.
And you're trying to lift the spine. You want to keep your pubic bone down, but you want to try and work into that lumbar spine. That's it, that's better. 5 with the right leg cocked, 5 with the left leg cocked. Is there a more challenging side, a noticeable difference or not?
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint whether it just feels different, doesn't it?
I think just lying here, I feel like I can't get this hip down as much as I can when I'm on the other side. So I think it's
great hip opener, the iliacus. This one was a very hard one to get. That's why in yin there's one called the tadpole and it's a frog. Frog and a tadpole, very good. Just the same sort of thing, but in a different way. So you've done 5 with the right, 5 with the left. Take yourself into the best version of child pose you can do, because we're then going to go on to the 3 in 1. In fact, whenever you're ready to go on to the 3 in 1, go into that. Let's just start off in child pose, stretch off that lower back. And again, this child pose, this 3 in 1, it just works on the Williams and the Mackenzie method within orthopedics, within physiotherapy, the physical therapy world. Just as basic level, just mobilizing the spine into forward, gentle forward flexion, neutral into extension. We're more interested in the lumbar spine. When you go into that swan, make sure you're squeezing the bum. If you're good hip flexor, if you squeeze the bum, you strengthen the bum. And also push the floor away with your arms. Have your arms quite active. And it brings in the other theme of this particular lesson: shoulder strength, shoulder stability, shoulder mobility. Sort of getting it all, really. It's a good movement, this 3 in 1 movement. So the big thing to pose, a big concern, is that when you're in the tabletop, don't rush that. You want the lower back flat. Super. I've left the best till last. Tanya hates these ones. Roll over onto your back. We're going to do, I call them teaser preps. But watch in. Heads on the block, heads on the cushion. Helps keep the lower back flat. Now it can be quite necky, but for what I'm after today, there's something you can do to help prevent that. But we'll use the arms first. So you're semi-supine. Just put your hand on the normal watch, just for the camera. Stop puffing and puffing. Semi-supine imprint. Slide one leg away, stay imprinted, slide the other leg away. Stay as imprinted as you can. It might be impossible, but you're trying to. Legs are together. Super. Raise the arms in the air. It's the version where you try and let the shoulder blades come forward as much as you can. Breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to bring yourself to a chest raised position. Keep reaching up. Now, if the neck plays up, I'm going to do this straight away because Tanya's whinging about her neck. Then have the hands behind your head, resting there. Because for what I'm after, we just want the spine, the chest lifted. Keep the pelvis heavy and now just lighten the feet. Don't lift them, just lighten them. Flex the feet right the way back. And what you're going to do is lift this up. Keep it as locked out as you can. That's very key. Lift it as high as you can, providing it stays locked out and the foot flex back. Lower it down, keep it light, and the other one. So the biggest thing of this is the chest got to be raised up. You can rest it on a number of blocks, rest it in your hands. The pelvis stays heavy, the feet stay light, the legs have got to be straight, the foot flex back, away you go, alternate. So if there's a pecking order of importance, it's that leg stays locked out and the foot stays pulled back throughout the whole movement. So I'm going to name names if you don't straighten those bloody legs. And more important, the leg as you lift it stays straight. And as you're lifting the leg, make sure you don't turn this into noddy dog. And you're not pulling on the head's resting in the hands. You really want to work the abdominals, keep the pelvis heavy, the feet light. Makes a massive difference. Very good. Is there a difference in how high you get in one leg, one thigh? Keep that feet flexed back. Super, and lower yourself down. Roll over into a Sphinx position with just a bit of a counter pose, that's all. Oh, yeah, you haven't. You have, but they have. Okay. So just a high Sphinx, just going to hold it there. Can you get your legs close together? Can you bend your knees? Can you anchor your pubic bone down into the ground? Super. Okay with that? Mm. So that's just a bit of a counter pose, just for what we've just done. Spine curls, we're not doing many because we haven't got time. Just roll over onto your back. I'm not going to teach these for the camera because you've all done these. Just do 5 spine curls. That's all you do. All I'm interested in is mobilizing the spine. So put the lower back down before you put your bum down. A bit quicker, Tanya, nice and dynamic. And then put a big arch in your lower back. I know you don't want to. It's not your lesson though, is it? When you do your lesson, you can go as slow as you want to, okay?
I know you don't, because you still too quick.
We're just mobilizing the spine. That's all we're doing. That's all I'm interested in. That's all the reason I'm giving these today. I'm focusing on the bum. Super. Now put your feet lower down, make that the last one. Put your feet together, put your knees together. Doing spine curls again. Just keep your feet together. Try and keep the knees together. Now do 5. Okay. It does, because it's pulling on the tension facial lateral if you keep your knees together. It should affect the center of your lower back. You may feel it in the center of your lower back. You might feel it other places as well. Cross the thighs a bit more, possibly. However many you've done, make that one the last one and then sit yourselves up.